One of the best perks of the Hybrid Soul is interviewing artists I'm a fan of, artists who I get excited when I hear new music is being released, artists who I get the opportunity to see perform and sing my favorite songs with. My guest today is one of them. He comes from a musical family. I've had the pleasure of interviewing one of his siblings for the show early on when we started, Davion Ferris.
Nice.
His new project, Heavy, is one of his most personal and confessional to date. And we love this. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Sitting around on my daughter's babies. She was in the living room with me just now. I had to kick her out so we could do the call, but I'm doing very well.
That's great. So you released this beautiful project, Heavy.
Yes.
My first question to you is, you've talked about putting this project together, like going through
Mhm.
your journey. When you listen to it now and you've released it to the masses, what is that feeling like for you?
Extremely gratifying, and just like it's like giving birth. I always compare all of my albums to children, and
Uh-huh.
this is my youngest child, so I got to give it the most care. I got to nurture. I got to make sure I'm posting so people don't forget about it the week it comes out, and
Right.
it's been doing very well, and it was a relief that people didn't. There was a lot of love off of the message coming out, and people finding out where I've been and stuff like that. So I didn't know what to expect with the message that I was portraying, but I got a lot of love and my fans were happy, and that makes me happy.
When you put this project together, writing it, and there's a fun part. I loved that to hear about the sequencing.
Mhm.
How was that part of it? Was it difficult? Did you have different versions putting the sequencing together?
Yeah, I got 10 different versions of the album for sure. Removing songs. I mean, the album was originally, it was like 22 songs, and
Mhm.
we had to cut back. We didn't want to give too much, and we wanted to make sure that the playlist, was streamlined.
Mhm.
So it was it was definitely a labor of love. I'll say that. A
Right.
lot of thinking went into it, and I had a lot of good help. I like to reach up to other artists in the camp and press play on them so I could get some advice and just get their expertise on where things should go.
Mhm.
So it definitely took a while for us to settle on what we have now, but we're definitely happy with what we ended up.
Yeah. When I listen to the project and I go back and listen to your projects beforehand,
Mhm.
the elevation, songs like Brighter and 6 Whole Days, I would love to know, like, when you wrote those songs, where were you in your process of personally and putting this project together?
Oh man, in two different places, from
Mhm.
from 6 days to brighter, especially
Right.
at the beginning of the album. You can kind of tell there was a period of just pain and just like a lot of self-reflection on situations that I didn't I wasn't able to really beat, and it turns to a much brighter album once you get to the end, and that's why I place brighter where it is. I kind of work through some problems on this album, and you can tell through each song that I'm working through something.
Yeah. You carry many hats. You are an artist. You're a father. You're a husband. How has that made you better? This project.
um well, it made me a better father.
Mm-hmm.
It made me a better father because it made me realize that, you know, I'll always have my family outside of music. You know what I mean? My daughter ain't
Mm-hmm.
heard my album, she ain't heard a song, but she still loves me more than anything. And it made me a better husband, because my wife, she's so gracious about everything, and me telling these stories. And she's been such a support, and having that kind of support makes it easier for me to want to be as available and ready as possible for them. You know what I mean? And it made me a better artist because I took risks on this album that are paying off. So it helps me to know that the next time I go out, I don't have to be so afraid to stay inside of my box.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I have some favorites. I mean, I love it from top to bottom. Um, but I have a lot. It's an emotional album, right?
Yes.
Uh, when I was so excited when the single started coming out, Karma, Nothing Even Matters. And one that really makes me smile that just gets continued replay in my systems is You.
Mm.
I love You. It makes me
I'm glad.
smile. It really
Oh,
makes me smile. Because please, that's something that could be played at a wedding reception. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you looking at each other. I would love to know when you were writing that, um, the thoughts of that. Being a high
Oh,
killer in a radio, a high, what is it?
a hard hitter radio
High hit a
killer.
radio killer.
You know that song is an example of me trying to be cool and
Yeah.
trying to be a suave gentleman.
Hmm.
I wanted to I wanted to have fun with the lyrics first and foremost. You know what I mean? Because I like to think that having a strong concept is one thing. Having a strong concept against phenomenal lyrics makes a song stand out so much more. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I wrote that song with the producer in the room, which I barely ever do. I usually am by myself. So I had a lot of help in there and had somebody to tell me no, which made me come up with better lines and better hooks for the song. And it just worked out, man. It oh man, that was a good day in the studio, man. SZA was in the studio like 3 studios down that day. So she came over to hear the song and I got to, play her some music. I remember that day clear as day, man. That was a great day.
That's beautiful. I love that you have some consistent people, and I think that they're friends because they've been on a lot of your albums. Poetry in Motion, Anderson Paak.
Yes.
How, because he's been on previous albums, how did this song, Poetry in Motion, come together and getting him to come aboard on this project?
It was easy, man. I pulled up on him at record one and I played him a couple of joints, and that was the one that he gravitated towards. And he wrote the verse on the spot, And I like to tell people all the time with my features, I don't charge people. I don't typically don't get like charged for features like that. It just
Hmm.
happens organically. And Anderson is somebody that knows that I respect him and knows that I love his music. And I think the feeling is mutual, and it was a no-brainer. I really don't even like chasing features or chasing people for that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I only go to people that I trust to give me what I need and that I trust will understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. And in between your two projects, Chasing Summer and Heavy, it's 5 years. The
Mhm.
growth, like I said, like with 6 Whole Days and Brighter, I hear the growth in writing. You as a writer, what things did you learn or grow writing this project, going through what you were going through?
That's a great question. I think the first thing that it taught me is it's okay to be honest. You know what I mean? And whether it hurts or not, it's okay to be honest. The situations
Hmm.
that you think people don't want to hear about, most people are going through. You know what I mean? So the more honest you are, the more relatable you are. That was lesson number one. And lesson number two is just be confident. I had been through so much with my addiction and everything that I just lost sight of who I was as an artist. And putting this project out and having people react the way they have has just brought me back to square one. It brought me back to knowing that I have the ability to create, beautiful things.
Yeah. Piggybacking on that question, when you say that, another song on your project, Trying My Hardest,
Mm.
beautiful. A beautiful song. I love that song. I love the project, but it's so your answer to the question I asked you previously, it kind of explains Trying My Hardest.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
it just so many people trying to be perfect
Hmm.
and we're
Right.
not, you know.
Right.
Um, that song is just a beautiful song, and I think that Heavy just gives us, just it is one of your most personals to date,
For sure.
when you turned it in and said it's done, was it like a breath of fresh air? What did you do after you finished it and it was done?
Man, I took a nap. I rested. I rested for 7 days.
Right,
No,
right.
for sure. I think the last song actually to go on back onto the playlist because I took it off a few times was "I'm Trying My Hardest," and I'm glad I did because that one is a great performance song. That's in my set
Mhm.
list. You know, it's a great song to sing. A lot of people, can relate to that.
Yeah.
And you explained it perfectly. It's just a song about not being perfect. And it was
Yeah.
just funny because I do have a song called "I'm Not Perfect" as well.
Yes, you do.
But they go together. They go hand in hand with each other. You know what I mean? Because just because you say you're not perfect doesn't mean you're trying, and just because you're trying doesn't mean you're not. You don't know you're not perfect.
Yeah,
So I think they go together very well, and they complement each other in the playlist for sure. But
I
that
love it.
this was like such a long time coming that all I did was lay on my ass for a week after the album was ready.
I see you in addition to well, while you were working in the studio with the new music, I saw a lot like social media it's a new thing. It's another area of being an artist. You and your brothers. I told your brother one time I was like, I would love to be in the house when somebody is on the piano and you guys are just having a jam session. How fun is that when you all when you finish this project and you let your brothers hear it? How was that feeling and what was their emotions and thoughts of it?
Well, they had been with me through the whole journey, so they had heard
Yeah.
all the songs. They knew what the playlist was before I finalized it. And
Uh-huh.
once we got to the final playlist, they were excited. But in my family, this kind of stuff is just it's run of the mill.
Yeah. Uh,
It's not like that, we like jump for joy at new albums or anything like that. Of course, we celebrate them, and I definitely got some congratulations, but it was more so it's about the long term support, and my brothers are still supporting my album and still sharing music, and that's what's most important to me.
mhm, mhm. Uh, and with your brothers, you all a lot of wellness. Let's talk about you all's health and
Mm.
wellness. You guys be in the gym. Was that something for you? Because the cover of your album is a beautiful photo.
Mm.
How did that help you with putting this album together, incorporating that? Because now it seems like it's a habit.
Well, I definitely didn't I wasn't working out for the album. I think those kind of paths just cross those two roads just crossed. I was working out for my own mental health.
Right.
It was exercise was an escape from my addiction. And one of the
Hmm.
things that people don't realize is there's stress related things that exercise kind of helps you with, and your body receives dopamine, same kind of thing that you get from drugs
Hmm.
basically when you exercise. So I had to have a trade off from drugs to exercise, and it just became my newest addiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once an addict, always an addict. I have an addictive personality, so I think the gym is a good addiction. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But it's everything in my life right now. I left the gym this morning. I got up at 7 o'clock to go get my workout in, make sure I was on top of my stuff. I got tour coming up. I want to make sure I look good as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely like the album and working out, they just so happened to be, things that were aligned on accident. But
Right. Right.
thank God they were.
Absolutely. Let's talk about touring. About to hit the road.
Yes.
I've had the pleasure to see you, sir, uh, in Brooklyn a few years ago, and it was
Nice.
sold out packed.
Yes.
Oh my God, sir, the heavy project. It's gonna be sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. What are you looking forward to with touring this time go around?
Um, I'm looking forward to getting off the road, actually. I'm going to fly through this tour. This is going to be a very emotional tour for me. The music that I'm performing is very emotional. And
Yeah,
my wife is pregnant right now. So I want to get back home. Yeah.
congratulations. That's
Thank you very
beautiful.
much. Thank you.
That's
Thank you. Yeah, I am
beautiful.
excited about being on the road. I'm excited. I'm most excited to see my fans because it's
Hmm.
been 5 years, and we're in bigger venues now. So
Yeah,
it's bigger shows, and longer set list, more songs to perform. I got to make sure I'm giving everybody what they want. I got to make sure I'm performing the right music. I don't want to miss anything.
yeah.
So it's an exciting time for me, but I'm ready, and I'm prayed up, and I'm about to go to rehearsal and get more ready. you
I
know
love it. As an artist who gives beautiful music, soul music, music from the heart, your legacy as you continue to build your catalog, what is your main focus to leave your fans with each project that you give?
Um, I like to think that I'm trying to create a tribe of people. I
Yeah.
like to think I'm giving life lessons to people that are, like me. And if I'm leaving anything with them, I'm leaving them with hope, especially on the last album.
Hmm.
I want them to see the humanity in me. I want them to see, that I go through things just like they do, but I can also overcome adversity if I choose to. And I'm a living testament. I tell people all the time, I'm not supposed to be here, so it's a blessing for me to be able to create it all. So just leaving it all on the floor is an understatement for me. I'm trying to give my all with every performance, with every song that we release, with all of the visuals, and you know what I mean. I'm just trying to be consistent. I don't want to, make people wait 5 years for the next
Right.
project.
Please don't. Please don't. What's been with your visuals? The what's been fun during the project so far with it?
Working with Loris. Loris has done the last 3 videos for me, and
Hmm.
he's just so good at what he does. He makes it easy for me to like get ideas off, and he's hands on with everything. And yeah, Loris Roussier, he's an amazing director, and he's been really making it easy for me, man. I'm not a visual guy. I got ideas, but I can't put it together. You know what I mean? I need help. So
Yeah.
Loris is really taking good care of me. And, just I got a strong team around me with Edgar and Keaton and everybody just holding me down at TDE.
Yeah. One of my last questions, I'm still talking about the album Heavy. You talked about the title of the album. It makes sense once I we hear you talk about it. Uh, but how did you come up to that? It's so simple. Simple is probably the best way to do it. But coming up with the title of the album, writing the song, like the first lines of the song, was that what in the line of writing those songs? Was that one of your first ones? Was that one of your last ones, or in the middle?
Closer to the end for sure. But it
Oh,
was definitely, it was a lot of this stuff is poetry. I like to write like poetry when I'm not writing songs just so I keep
yeah,
my pen sharp. And a lot of this stuff was poetry that I'd written, excuse me, either in like rehab or wherever I had been when I was at Top's house, tucked away. And that was towards the end of the writing process for sure, because I wanted to make sure that the intro was, form fitting to all of the other songs. So yeah, I
hmm,
definitely created that around the playlist.
I love it. And my final question to you: you started out as an independent, and
Hmm.
you joined a powerful team, TDE.
Hmm.
Uh, being an artist on TDE, being a California native, what does that mean to you when you go out and represent every time you're on that stage?
I mean, it means everything, man. I'll top my life. Without him, I don't think I would have made it through these last couple of years. And just having artists like Q and Rock and Soul and artists like Rayvon and Dochi and SZA, like our catalog, things to look back at, things to look forward to with these guys. It's a beautiful thing. And then still having Big Bro Dot, you know what I mean, at PG Lang, who's right around the corner from us. Just you saw it was so much
Yeah.
love. You know what I mean? And I'm happy to be a part of it, man. And I like to contribute where I can and just keep a low profile and, make my way back home when I need to go home, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Well, I want to thank you, sir. The Hybrid Soul is your destination for R&B discovery, and I thank you for sharing your story and your music and letting us discover more about you. Congratulations on Heavy. We look forward to seeing you out on tour and just giving us more of you, and all the best. My guest today is SiR. It's the Hybrid Soul with Kelly Kinkaid. Until next time.